Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Classical Music Cadences. In this video we'll talk about deceptive and evaded cadences, along with other complementary techniques involving unexpected cadential resolutions. So far, we've talked about the different types of conclusive cadences, including authentic and half cadences, and their role as landmarks in the musical speech. This time, however, we'll see what happens when the composer decides to avoid a normative resolution of a cadence, prolonging the need for a satisfactory ending that usually arrives a few bars later. This is a very useful resource in music, with unlimited dramatic and expressive possibilities, normally articulated by means of either deceptive or evaded cadence procedures. Deceptive cadence. A deceptive cadence occurs when an authentic cadential progression resolves into an unexpected harmony different than the tonic. Technically speaking, any non-tonic harmony could be used for a deceptive cadence, but in the classical music era the most common one was the 6-degree triad, which is a minor triad in the major mode, and a major triad in the minor mode. In this type of deceptive cadence, the bass line was expected to resolve upwards by stepwise motion, just like in this example. The rest of the voices resolve just like in an authentic cadence, following the rules that we have already explained in the previous videos of this series. So in the end, in this type of deceptive cadence, the last chord differs by only one note, the bass one, with respect to the tonic chord. Notice how in 4-part harmony this naturally leads to a duplication of the third and the last chord, which is perfectly fine in this context, as this note is actually the tonic. Deceptive cadences can also appear in the form of a delayed resolution, in which the bass resolves right away, but the upper voices behave as suspensions. More information on delayed resolutions can be found in my previous videos on authentic and half cadences. A variant of the 5th to 6th degree deceptive cadence occurs when the bass line rises by chromatic motion, something that is only possible in the major mode. The raised 5th degree is, therefore, harmonized as a secondary dominant of the 6th degree. Some authors consider that a deceptive cadence is also possible when the last chord is the tonic triad in first inversion. In these cases it's very common that the bass line proceeds by descending stepwise motion, or a leap of a third down, which are known as the alto clausula. Keep in mind this is a very common harmonic progression also in non-cadential passages, so in order to consider it a deceptive cadence, a context must be provided in which an authentic cadence was expected instead. An even more controversial case is when imperfect authentic cadences behave as deceptive cadences, something that might occur when the composer makes the listener expect a perfect authentic cadence instead. Keep in mind that there is some room for debate here, as not everyone would agree to consider these last two examples as true deceptive cadences. Evaded cadence. While in a deceptive cadence the surprise effect comes from an unexpected harmonic resolution, in the evaded cadence a similar effect is achieved through the voice leading. Essentially, while in this type of cadence we usually have a normative tonic harmony resolution, the voice leading, on the other hand, behaves in unexpected ways, such as offbeat bass lines, or non-normative resolutions in the upper voices, normally involving all kind of leaps. The effect is similar to that of the deceptive cadence in the sense that in both cases the listener perceives that the satisfactory resolution of the expected authentic cadence hasn't been fully achieved. As we've seen up to this point, and also in the following examples, it's very common that once a deceptive or evaded cadence take place, we are presented with a repetition of previously heard materials, but this time leading to a satisfactory perfect authentic cadence. Regarding evaded cadences, notice how small details, like an offbeat resolution of the melodic line, can make a huge difference in terms of conclusive feeling, like in the following example. Abandoned cadence. The abandoned cadence is actually not a cadence, but the absence of one. An abandoned cadence takes place when at the end of a cadential progression the expected resolution is omitted altogether, and instead, the music keeps going, as if it had changed its mind at the very last moment. Abandoned cadences are closely related to deceptive and evaded cadences, but while the latter are based on unexpected cadential resolutions, in the abandoned cadence there is simply no resolution at all. Abandoned cadences are very useful not only as a deceptive procedure, but also as a modulation tool. In this masterfully crafted passage, Mozart uses a series of abandoned cadences to trick the listener and move away from the initial tonal center. Complementary techniques, elision and one more time. Just like in the language, a musical elision occurs when two musical structures merge at some point. In other words, there is a common ground area in between, shared by both structures. In a cadential context, we speak of an elided cadence when its resolution is heard simultaneously as the ending of the first structure and the beginning of the second. In non-elided cadences, on the other hand, the cadential resolution is only heard as ending. Elision can be applied to any kind of cadence, be it authentic, half, deceptive or evaded, and is just another tool in the composer's hand to manage the musical flow, as an elided cadence is best used as a link to connect subsequent parts in a musical piece, while a non-elided cadence usually allows for a clearer separation of musical structures. One more time technique was first named and described by Professor Janet Schmalfelt. In this procedure, the conclusion of a given musical structure turns out to be a literal or varied repetition of previously heard materials, given the sensation that we are, somehow, going back and undermining the conclusive effect of the last cadence. In fact, when a one more time technique is present, cadences usually feel more like a re-beginning than an actual ending. Just like with elision, the one more time technique can be applied to any kind of cadence, including deceptive and evaded ones. That's all for now. Thank you for joining me in this series, and see you next time.